Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video with Yoseka. Today, I have an exciting one for you all. I'm going to be sharing my traveler's notebook setup from when I went on my little trip to Spain. So this is a great setup. I mean, it's what works for me, but I wanted to share it with you all because I just went on like a very short trip, and I think people are sometimes curious about like what do you bring with you? What's too much? What's too little? Especially when it's a trip where you're only gone for like a week or a week and a couple days. So I just wanted to share what I brought along to travel journal with me on my trip to Spain. So I will jump right in. If you watched our planner video, our mid-year update for the planners, I showed my Hobonichi pouch, and I talked a little bit about how I brought this around with me because I had my Hobonichi Weeks health log in here. And this setup is very, very simple. Like, it doesn't really have anything to do with travel journaling necessarily. It was just a really nice thing to have so that I could have my health log with me. And you can see in here, this is the drawer pouch, but it's the Ane, if I'm not mistaken. It's the larger one. So it's got places for cards, you can put pens, you can put cash, you can put stickers, receipts. So mostly what I kept in here was cash and receipts and like ephemera things. And this is mostly what I carried around with me, but I didn't necessarily use it so much for travel journaling. It was more like a wallet, actually. So for the actual travel journal setup, I brought around my traveler's notebook. And this is the regular size in Camel. I have a lot of charms on here that I've collected. Our brass charm, of course, which is now super, super patinaed. And some of the Traveler's Tokyo charms. There's this house charm, and yeah, I just like this for traveling around because I can customize the inside setup. So I will show you what I brought along with me for my trip. So first of all, I brought the file folder. I think that's what this is called, I believe, like 020. If you want to find it, it's the regular full size. All of my things are going to be the regular size, the full size for the traveler's notebook. And I like this size because when I journal, I mostly focus on writing. I'm not as much of like a drawer or like a travel and sketch type person. Like, I know Travelers really wants me to be. Travelers Company really loves the travel and sketch idea. I'm not there yet. I'm not comfortable enough yet. So I mostly write and journal for my travels. So this folder just slides in the back, like underneath your whole setup. It just slides in the very back like this. And this bigger folder is what I use to hold bulkier things that aren't necessarily like the traveler size. So I brought some stickers with me in case I wanted to journal on my trip. And then I have this little blotter paper from Esterbrook. And then I have a Hobonichi memo pad. This I brought around just to write down some quick notes about what I did that day, just so I wouldn't forget. And some things like, oh, there were no outdoor tables when we went to this restaurant that I wanted to go to, or just like a little itinerary of things, so that when I go back to travel journal, I won't forget some little details about our day. But it's very, very brief, and the Hobonichi memo pads are great because they're so thin, so it doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to the whole setup. So that's what I kept in the file folder. In the back, since it like goes underneath the whole setup, I kept like tickets and things that I needed to be able to pull out like at the ready very quickly. So I just have our tickets in there. And the second thing that I brought along is this zipper case. It's number 8, so 008. And this is really great because this case can fit so much stuff. So anything that's really bulky, like random ephemera is what I decided to put in there. And I also put my pen in there because I only brought along one pen for my trip. I knew that I would not be journaling so much on the trip. I would rather gather all this ephemera, write down my itinerary, and write down all these things, and then, actually scrapbook, actually travel journal, and do all these things later. So that's why I only have one pen with me. This is just for notes, quick note taking, things that I didn't want to forget. It's the Twisby Cafe Bronze with the Toffee Robert Oster ink. And you can tell I like the brown setup, so that's what I brought with me. Only one pen, which is great because it fits into the zipper case as well. And this is where my setup gets a little bit confusing, but I wanted to share this because I think it might be different from how normal people use the zipper pouch. But the zipper case actually has another flap, which is this, that has two other, I don't know what you would call this, these little pockets. And so I actually used this as like a way to hold another refill without having to use the connecting band, because I don't like the connecting bands. I think it adds I used one here, you can see, but I try to keep it as minimal as possible with the connecting bands because it starts to feel a little precarious, especially when I'm moving things around. So the zipper case to me feels a lot more secure, and it allows me to have 4 refills in here. So if I didn't have the connecting band, I would have the file folder, the zipper pocket, and the short trip refill and sticker release refill all in the notebook without having to use a connecting band. That's really my goal, is no connecting bands. So yeah, moving on from the zipper pouch pocket. Oh, I'm getting all these words mixed up. Pocket, pouch, case. I'll leave the items that are in this setup in the description so that if I'm saying any of these words wrong, I know the numbers are correct. If I'm saying the words wrong, you can at least follow along there in the description. So moving on from the zipper pocket, I have a short trip refill. This is the MD cream paper one. And the short trip is really great because it has half the amount of pages inside. So my trip was only a week and a couple days long, so I know I'm not going to have so much stuff to keep and journal about in here. But my setup for using the short trip refill, I have this clip in here for a very important reason. It's from the PAL, Plan and Log, is because when I'm traveling and I'm collecting my ephemera, my tickets, my receipts, anything, if it's too bulky, I put it into this pouch, right? But if it's flat things, I just shove it into the paper and turn the page for the next day. So everything in here is chronological, and it follows what day I did things in order, so that when I go through and I want to go back and journal about it, I can see, oh, this day I didn't really do that much. But this next day, I know coming up here, we did so much stuff. So I know I'm gonna probably need multiple spreads to talk about what we did this day. And then same with this day, look, so many tickets. So I know that I went a lot of places, but I like to have them all grouped by the day so that I can remember what I did in that chunk of time. And none of this ephemera gets too overwhelming. If I was to have it in just one stack, that'd be so much to go back through and sort through. So I do some work on the front end to organize things. So when I get a receipt at a restaurant, bam, goes right into the journal. But I don't stick it down or anything because I know I'm gonna wanna use some of this ephemera. I know I'm gonna wanna rearrange some things. So once I finish a day, at the end of the day, I'll have all my receipts in there. And then I'll just clip it like this, or maybe not like that. I'll clip it at the top or wherever makes sense. I'll clip it like this so that the next day I just start right there and I start shoving all my receipts in. Basically, I keep everything. You can see some of the stuff in here is this is a bag that I got a tote bag in or something, but the logo of the place that we visited is on this bag, so I wanted to keep it so that I can cut out that logo and put it in here. So yeah, that is how I keep track of all my ephemera. It's a little chaotic. It doesn't look super pretty while I'm on the trip, but I'd rather make sure that I remember the order that I did things in on the trip and just pay attention to having fun on the trip, and then I'll rearrange, cut things out, collage things once I get back home. So that's how I keep track of everything in the short trip refill. And there's not too many pages left over here for me to have to use. I got halfway through with just the ephemera. So I know I'll be able to fill the rest of this up with writing and collaging. So on the other side of the zipper pocket, I had the sticker release paper refill in here. And this one is really great for collecting any sticker ephemera. So, we went on some tour group things, and the sticker you have to stick on your clothing. And so I was so afraid, like all these stickers that usually you pull off of your clothing, or you pull off some packaging and you throw it away. I was like, no, I want to know. I know that I'm going to want to keep this. So the sticker release paper was really good for that. I think if you are going to be journaling on the go while you're traveling, I could definitely see putting in a lot of stickers here to take with you so that you don't have to do this situation and bring along like entire sticker sheets. So I could definitely see that being a setup in here with the sticker release paper. Mine is very minimal. I would even like to have a short trip sticker release for going on trips, just for this purpose of collecting sticker ephemera that you don't want to discard and lose. So sticker release paper is what I had there. And that's honestly like my main setup. This last thing I had to put in with one of the connecting bands you can see here. So if you're new to the concept of the connecting bands, I used one here to connect the zipper pocket to this tri-fold folder. And the way it works is the connecting band goes around the middle of the zipper pocket and the middle of the file folder. And so you can see they're connected. We have another video about setting up a traveler's notebook if you'd like to see that. And once everything like that is all set up, you can just put the whole thing underneath and it will all stay together like that. So this is the tri-fold folder, and it's number 29, I believe. And there's some sensitive information, but this was really nice to have because we had some tours and tickets that we had to print out information for. We had to print out information for before leaving the United States. So it's printed on like full-size printer letter paper, and we needed to have, these full-size ginormous tickets with us to get to where we were going and go on these tours. So bringing around the full-size paper like this was really convenient. But yeah, so this was also really nice because it had our itinerary on it like this, printed out on the paper. So I could reference like, oh, this is where we gotta go. And then there's like the map and the tickets in the back on a full-size sheet of paper. So not like small things that I have a hard time seeing, So this file folder was useful for that. And then in the back, I already talked about this file folder with the ticket. So that is basically my entire traveler's notebook setup. Some people use this bookmark. I'll just put it in there. So this was my traveler's notebook setup for a short trip. I think there are many different types of travelers and journalers out there, and I am the type that really wants to experience everything in the moment, have a lot of things planned every day. There's some downtime, but downtime in the sense where I just want to relax. I don't even want to journal things, you know. I'd rather journal about those things when I return from the trip. And so my setup, even though it seems like this is pretty bulky, I would consider it pretty minimal because I'm not bringing along things like paints or pens or sticker paper, like dot liner, glue. I'm not bringing along all these other materials that I would need to collage because I'd rather just do that when I get home. So everything that I have in this traveler's notebook is really geared towards collecting so that I can have everything with me when I return. So collecting ephemera, collecting maps, collecting whatever random trinkets I run into is mostly what I keep in here. And then there's some functional things, like I kept my tickets in here, I kept our maps, our itinerary in here. So it was like a very functional setup for me. Not really sentimental, I guess, not really sentimental journaling. I would say if you are the type, I think the other two common types of travel journalers are people who journal when they are actually on their travel. They'll go to like a cafe in the morning and, you know, bust out the traveler's notebook, paste in some things from the previous day, write how they felt about that trip, that tour, that event. And I really admire that. Couldn't be me. But I think if you are that person, the sticker release paper is very helpful. These are like my honorable mention things for a short trip setup. Sticker release paper would be really helpful. You can put in a lot of materials beforehand so you don't have a lot of like washi tapes and like sticker paper, sticker sheets, flake stickers floating around. You can have that all with you and contained within your traveler's notebook. I think another good one might be the card file folder, because then you can keep business cards in there and, you know, collect them in a very neat way, not the way I did it. The other type of travel journaler that I know of is the one that draws while they're out. So they'll go to like a landmark or they'll see like a very, very beautiful view and will, you know, paint that very picturesque scene. And I'm not that person, but I know they exist. And for that, I would recommend definitely the zipper case, because then you can keep like your watercolors in there. You can keep a brush in there. Like, you can keep so many things in this zipper pocket. It's got a lot of space. It's a little deceiving because I only have like one pen in there, but you can hold like a lot more. Like, I've definitely put 5 pens at least in there before. So I think if you're someone who likes to go out and draw, that would be a good one. The watercolor refill is also good, but these short trip refills actually handle watercolor pretty well. Even the sketch paper handles watercolor pretty well. So I think if you're doing very simple watercolors, you could even get away with doing a short trip refill for that. Because I'm all about the don't want extra bulk, you know. I had to carry this around with me in my bag every day. And so you don't want to be having shoulder pain while you're on your trip. I'm very much an advocate for, like, you know, only taking what you need, making sure it's functional, and that it's working for you. Like, I don't want to say that this is definitely not the end-all be-all, not the correct way to travel journal. This is just the setup that I brought with me for my short trip to Spain. So, thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this type of video. I hope it was interesting for you. I think it's a little bit of a different type of video. May traveled to Paris a few years ago, and she did like a little explanation about her setup. I think she also did a blog post. Maybe it was a blog post. If you go check that out after this, maybe you can see different ways people travel journal. I obviously haven't finished journaling anything in here. If you would like to see some of my process doing that, if you'd like to see updates on how I'm travel journaling now that I'm back from my trip, definitely leave a comment. I'll do my best to get through all the comments and see what I can do about them. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!